Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Malachi Fields had a really good year last year, and obviously it was overshadowed by everything that Malik was doing. You guys go to the transfer portal, you bring in a bunch of receivers. How have you seen kind of Malachi respond to that, and what's he doing leadership-wise after a good year?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that we've challenged him is just from a leadership standpoint. I think we know that the ability to production is there. The intent is to make the team better, make that position group better. Competition breeds success. It brings the most out in people. So he's responded well. He's been practicing well. You can hear him. Matter of fact, at the end of practice, I asked him to break down the team with a quick word. He gave us a very, very profound word that he had heard this past Sunday, which was very timely. I've seen and known that he's got a ton of leadership ability. He's quiet by nature. You know, he doesn't say a whole lot, but an area I have seen him grow is he's becoming more vocal, and he's continuing to produce on the field and practice as well.
The only other question for me is special teams.
Yeah.
Last year you had everybody, all hands on deck was the approach. I don't know that it moved the needle very much. Maybe, I don't know how you feel looking back at that.
No,
what can you do in the spring
we weren't,
to keep working?
We weren't very good on special teams, and obviously our job as coaches is to self-scout and analyze every aspect of our performance. And special teams, you know, we were last in the league, and rightfully so, because we put some bad stuff on tape. I think with the addition of some of the transfers, I think we have some more experienced veteran guys that gives us some more depth. I think that depth hurt us last year, and we were playing guys, and guys were having to play a tremendous amount of snaps that wore on us. I think schematically there's a couple things that we got to change and tweak, and that's what we're focusing on. And in the spring, you prioritize your punt team, you prioritize your kickoff team, and then you work on your coverage teams on the back half. So we've been putting a big emphasis on the punt team. I feel like we got an all-conference type punter in Sparks. We got a battle at the long snapper. We got to get better there. That's something that we'll continue to evaluate to see if we have to do something post-spring, possibly in the portal for a long snapper. And then we just got to coach better. We got to teach better. And then the guys collectively as a program, we just got to take more ownership, desire, passion for special teams, and understanding that it's a third of the game. Those are plays that make a difference. And so I got to do a great job as a head coach of changing the mindset of this program that it starts with special teams before we move on to offense and defense.
Hi, Coach. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good. So it seems like you challenged a lot of your staff members to create competitive depth this spring. Mm-hmm. How do you evaluate, especially in the trenches, how's that going, and what have you seen from those young guys?
Yeah, the trenches doesn't have any choice because all of our guys that have started football games are standing on the sideline with postseason surgery. So just naturally, those guys are going to have to perform. And so what you're seeing is with last Thursday, our first full scrimmage. Today we had good live work. We'll have some more 50-50 work on Friday, and then the next 2 weeks after that, there'll be more sprinkled in live evaluation work. So we'll continue to see those guys develop and grow. But what you're seeing is you're seeing them have to strain. You're seeing from a conceptual standpoint how much they can manage with the first 5 days of install. And now we're going to be able to evaluate technically, you know, are they improving once the installation is slowed down? Can they now go take the drill work and transition it to the competitive live game type simulation? So offensive line has no choice. The receivers with the guys coming in, there's no choice to build competitive. Same thing in the secondary. D-line wise, you know, those older guys got to push each other. But it is, you know, forcing those younger guys to develop and step up. You know, linebacker, the same thing. So this, from here on out, is really when we're going to evaluate, because now we're into the good live work throughout the rest of spring. The first couple of days we're in shorts. You know, then we have a third day where we can't go to the ground. Then we have one prep day for the scrimmage, and then we have the scrimmage. So the next 2 weeks will really be about the live evaluation. But the offensive line is kind of, you know, baptism by fire, to be honest with you, because all those older guys are out, and they're going against a veteran, experienced defensive front.
And my next question kind of goes with that, because you are halfway through spring. Mm-hmm. Is this where you kind of expected this team to be? Also, do you feel like you guys are further ahead because of what you said the first time we talked to you about how the offseason kind of changed things?
Right. I think just looking at us, we're further ahead for practice 7 in the spring. Today was a good practice, man. There was a lot of tempo. There was a lot of live work. Man, the guys fought through, and we didn't see guys trying to pull up, and we saw guys trying to get better, you know, as practice went on, and trying to finish strong at the end of practice. So I think mentality-wise, we're better. I think we're in better condition. We have more depth. So then now we can really get good competitive work because we have more depth. I think the retention is good. And now where we got to get better is we got to get better fundamentally with all of the details of what we do. So I think we're ahead of where we've been in past springs at this point, and we should be because of the offseason. But now I'm excited to see how they're going to strain and get better with the bulk of our work from a live standpoint coming in the next 2.5 weeks.
Darren Harrison last year had some good time as a freshman, but he's got now an offseason in the belt. How much have you seen him grow and kind of mature into his role now?
Yeah, so now he understands that we're looking to him from a leadership standpoint because he is a guy, and I know we brought in several transfers at the position, but he'd be considered a veteran guy because he was here last year. So he knows the offense better than those guys do at this point. So what you're seeing is you're actually seeing him lead, and so what I thought we would see out of him from his quarterback background, being a guy that's vocal and leading, he's doing a good job. You're seeing him make plays. Still gotta be a little bit more consistent, catching the ball. But overall, I've seen a ton of improvement. But from a leadership standpoint, you're starting to see him kind of take lead in that group and be the most vocal guy.
Kind of along those lines, piggybacking off Jackie's question, those guys who played for you as freshmen last year, Darian, Cam, Jason Hammond, the list kind of goes on and on. How much have you seen them benefit from game reps last year, and what have you noticed in them this spring?
Yeah, first thing is their bodies look different, right? So their bodies now have had an off season to where they look a little bit different. They look comfortable. They're a lot calmer, so their movements are a lot smoother because they understand that now they've had a whole season to go through the installation. Now we're going back through it, so the second time that they're hearing it, it doesn't sound like a foreign language. Keandre's been down, so we haven't had a chance to see him as much, and Hammond's been down the last couple of days, but the first several days, man, he was flashing. You could see his ability really starting to come to the forefront now that he has a better understanding of what we're doing. So biggest thing is they just look a little bit more comfortable. Their movements are now a lot smoother. You can see the confidence in their body language. Their communication is better because now they understand what they're supposed to be communicating. Before it was just kind of, memorization, like, okay, I think I'm supposed to say this. Now they know why they're saying certain things, why they're communicating in certain situations, why we're making certain adjustments based off of formation adjustments. So they just look a lot calmer, a lot smoother in their movements.
In the portion open to us today, we saw Calandria with the ones. Have you been alternating Calandria and Musket? Can you kind of run us through the quarterback situation?
Yeah. So obviously, as I told them as we started spring, is kind of how we finished the season. Tony was the starter. He won the job, and Calandria played well and did a good job. But that's where we're going to start. But we're not going to worry about that. Other than that's where we're starting. But we're going to give them both equal amount of reps. So but both of those guys been running with the ones. Giving them an opportunity to go work with the top guys that we have on offense from an offensive line standpoint, backs and receivers. They got a great relationship. They're working well together. It's the spring. Everybody's going to talk about all that stuff. What my focus is right now is both of them getting better. And I outlined a couple things for each one of them that I wanted them to focus on this spring from an improvement standpoint. And that's what we're focusing on. And as we get into the bulk of our live stuff, then you'll have some more true evaluation of where we are. But so far I've been pleased with just both of their command of what we're doing. Again, Calandria looks a lot more comfortable now, and the same thing, he's like those other freshmen that we were talking about. The system has slowed down a little bit now. This is the second time through it. He understands it. He knows what his checks are. He knows what his reads are, what his progressions are, and now he can get to the next part of his game, which is kind of the nuances of being a quarterback, right? And just manipulating your snap count and voice inflection and looking off safeties and things of that nature.
Gotcha. And then on defense, how much of an emphasis is the pass rush?
Oh, huge.
Less than the country in sacks last year.
I know.
Is it a big emphasis?
Yeah, some of it is schematically. We could have did a better job to help them, with some more blitz patterns to try and free some guys up. But I challenged them today. I said defensive line, where we got to get better is in two areas. Our hand placement has to get better so that we can disengage and be violent when we get off of blocks and make plays in the run game. And then our pass rush has to improve. We got to get to the quarterback. And, we're gonna make the point of emphasis. We need to get there with 4. right? So we got guys that are veterans returning, that got some experience. We should be able to get to the quarterback with the front four, and then we can supplement some of the different blitz patterns to help them out to create some more one-on-ones. But biggest thing is fundamentally we got to work on our extension. We got to work on our hand violence. We got to work on our hips clearing the offensive line so we get on the right trajectory. We got to know when to counter and spin out and not get too high up the field on the quarterback. So there's just a lot of teaching that we're working on this spring to see if we can create some more pass rush.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Coach, you've got a lot of 5th, 6th, 7th year guys on defense. I'm curious, what have you noticed about kind of having that many veteran guys on the defensive side so far this spring?
Competition. Competition is forcing those guys to treat it like it's a game, and every rep matters because those guys want to get on the field, and you got to earn your right on the field. So it doesn't matter if you're a first year or a 7th year, right? The best guy is going to play, and so now they understand that. They also understand the importance of the camaraderie that they have to have. You're starting to see a lot more investment outside of the scheduled football time that we can't have any more mandatory time with them, but you're seeing those guys leading their own meetings, spending more time in the building, coming up after class and watching film and just trying to get better. So what I'm seeing is the leadership that you would expect out of those guys, and then also the camaraderie and healthy competition because we need all of them, and I think we learned that last year from a depth standpoint. You can never have too much depth because this is a violent game. Somebody's going to go down, when you least expect it, and somebody's got to be ready to step up and play.
We lost the lights, but I got another one. Cory Thomas is kind of a unique kind of figure out there athletically and size-wise. What have you seen from him, and do you have any kind of comparisons for kind of what he is?
So I've seen him make a lot of plays so far, which has been good. And I think we anticipated that, looking at his film from where he came from. I'm very happy that we were able to add him to our roster. If I have to make a comparison, I'm going to compare him to an Isaiah Simmons that I was around. He's not quite as fast as Isaiah, but he's that big, long body that's very versatile. He can play out over the number 2 as a nickel Sam. He could go back to the half and play the half field safety, and he's even physical enough and instinctual enough that you can put him in the box. So that's the biggest comparison because he's got that size that Isaiah has. I think he's got the instincts. He's got several of the same physical attributes, just probably not quite as fast foot speed wise, but he's very capable.
Hey, we got about 2 more minutes, and then coach has got to get ready for a staff meeting.
Yeah, a quick question for you, Coach. We've talked about the veterans some, but you do have a bunch of early enrollees on your hands. What kind of growth have you seen from them over the past couple weeks?
Yeah, so the first couple of days, it was like, deer with their eyes were like deers in the headlights, right? They're wide open, everything's moving fast, but you're starting to see them settle in. They understand practice-wise. The 2 young DNs are getting a lot of work, which has been good for them, so you're starting to see them flash a little bit. Kiki's, been a guy that you see show up some. Miles, I think Miles Brown has caught everybody's attention just with his length and athleticism and pretty instinctual so far. That's the one thing you don't know until you see him in our situation, how their instincts are. So he's been fun to watch. Cam Courtney is what we thought he was going to be, just a dynamic playmaker type. Don't want to miss anybody. Have I missed anybody? I tell you who's been doing a really good job is Ethan Minner. Being a guy that played quarterback and he's transitioned into safety, man, he's really picked up the playbook, which has been impressive how quickly he's picked it up. And now it's just a function of him creating the muscle memory, having not backpedaled as much, in his career being a quarterback. But he's got good instincts. He's not afraid to tackle, and so I'm excited about the progress that he's made. And then Grant on the offensive line, been kind of thrown in there. Let's go get baptized, but he's done a really good job. You can see that he was very well coached in high school, has a good feel for the game. So I've been pleased with him. And I'm trying to think, is there anybody else that I'm missing? I think that was the collection of those guys.